And welcome back to the Tuned In podcast. We're here, baby.
Oh, man. Last one of the season.
I think this is the final episode of the season.
That's right.
I think we've had at least 30 episodes, maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Since the beginning of the season. It's gone by fast for you, or how's it been?
Yeah, that's episode 70 overall, too, for us.
I know,
which is
big
crazy.
milestone.
Yeah, which is crazy. We're at the point where it's like we can't even match any jersey numbers. I feel like I don't think there's any Jazz number 70s, but just say. Yeah, we have an exciting episode today, though. We're going to, of course, as always, recap our previous games this week. I think we have 4. And then Andrew's going to pick our player of the week. And then we will predict the final game of the regular season.
Oh, man.
We'll see if Andrew can catch up on get some crazy swing for the fence guesses here. And then we're going to give a little update on our tankathon, our odds for the NBA draft lottery coming up. We'll talk about some Jazz news, some interesting stats and injury updates. And then, it's kind of exciting, we're going to review our NBA superlatives and our bold predictions that we made earlier in the season, or before the season started. So we'll see how those turned out, if we were right or wrong. We'll go over playoff seeding. We're going to talk about March Madness, of course. We'll talk about Utah Hockey Club, BYU a little bit. And we got a lot of exciting things in today's episode.
Make sure to check us out on all the podcast platforms as tunedinjazz. Share with a friend. I know the season's coming to an end, but this is the most exciting time for a Jazz fan as we're leading up to the draft lottery. We'll definitely have you covered for all of that.
And this is episode 70 of Tuned In Jazz.
Well, one game left in the season. I don't know about you, but it has actually gone by really slow for me.
Yeah.
It's been a long season.
Yeah.
And that's understandable with just how the things have gone.
Yeah.
But how do you feel knowing there's only one game left?
Oh, man, it's crazy. Honestly, I know we've been trying to keep things positive here, and we always will try to because we love the Jazz. But what a horrible season.
Oh, no.
We can say it now. It's over, right? It's pretty much over. It kind of is I hope next year we can get back to enjoyable basketball to watch because this is not fun.
Yeah, I've seen some guys on other NBA podcasts and on ESPN. Just first of all, they don't talk about the Jazz at all, and I totally understand why.
I can understand.
And then, I saw a video this week where it's what is the one team that you could forget about this season? And it was the Jazz.
Absolutely.
I think, if you're a casual NBA fan, you had no reason to tune into a Jazz game this year.
Not at all.
But if you're us, you're sticking with the Jazz.
That's
rain
right.
or storm.
That's right.
Rain or shine.
Yeah.
But we only have one game left. But let's, I guess, kind of dive into the past week of games.
Yeah. Also, a little update on our prediction tracker in case anybody's interested. It looks like we'll finish the season pretty close to these numbers, but I finished with 940. Andrew's got 1014, so it ended up being fairly
pretty
close.
Pretty close. I did the math and divided it by game. And it's you got about 11.4 points off per game.
Oh, dang.
Which is pretty good because the Jazz did lose by a lot of big margins we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
And then I was off by about 12.37
Dang.
points per game.
That's pretty close. That'll just add up over time.
Pretty solid. I mean, we're no perfect predictors, right? But I think we did at least get win-loss right most of the time. It's just it's hard to tell if it's going to be a blowout or not.
Yeah.
But I feel like those are pretty good predictions. You're going to be sub 1,000, which I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I hope so. I might go minus 60 this game just to get it to even.
Yeah, if the Jazz lose by 70. Anyways, but the Jazz had a couple good games this week, a couple blowouts. Let's start with the Pacers game. I think that happened the most last week. But Jazz were in this game in the first half. I think they were leading at halftime, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. Yeah, Colin Sexton, 27 points. He's just, we talked about him last week. He's just playing well for what it is right now. Keontae also played well, 15, 8, and 5 for Keontae.
Yeah.
Overall, solid game.
Yeah, when I was watching a little bit in the first half, it seemed like the Jazz were just jacking up threes.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of been something that's happened the last couple games.
Yeah.
And we just keep jacking up three after three after three, and we'd also keep getting rebounds too.
Mm-hmm.
The Jazz had 19 offensive rebounds, which is pretty solid.
Dang,
to the
really
Pacers 11.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, we shot 52 threes. We only made 16. So
Dang.
I guess that would have been, if we had made a couple more threes, a pretty solid outing, but we just couldn't hit them. And honestly, we're okay with that, right? We're in a good draft position. But,
Yeah.
a lot of guys did pretty solid, and I think the biggest thing was just that offensive rebounding.
Yeah, I think overall this season, if there's one positive, we've been playing pretty well offensively most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Our defense not so great, but this game I thought was really well. We were shooting the ball. I didn't think we shot too bad, other than the loss, I guess. But.
Right. And then I guess we took to our next game against the Atlanta Hawks to finish out the road trip.
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks, man, they've got a high-powered offense.
Ooh, yeah. Looking at the game forecast thing here, man, they could have probably dropped 160 on us if they. It looks like they, in the first two quarters, they had 40 each, and then 38 in the third quarter. And then they dropped to 28 in the fourth. So I'm guessing they took all their guys out.
Yeah.
But kind of just a crazy game. Colin Sexton again with 27, which is pretty awesome. Back-to-back games without. Also Isaiah Collier, I feel like we're a broken record on him, with 17 and 12. Pretty incredible. Those are good starting point guard numbers right there.
Yeah, I think last week we gave up 143 points to the Rockets or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be our worst defensive game, but I guess this one, 147.
Yeah.
You just keep seeing these big numbers every game, and it's kind of hard to imagine that scoring that many points, but it happens pretty quick.
Yeah.
But Jazz still, like you said, we still put up points too, even though we give up points, we also score. And so Keontae George off the bench, I don't know if you already said, but he had 35 points, 7 for 13 from three. He was cooking from 3-point. Yeah. His best game of the week by far.
Absolutely. And also, if there's another bright side from this, we held our boy Georges Niang to 6 points. Interestingly enough, to Risa Shea, 16 points. He played pretty well, 6 for 12.
Yeah, he might sneak into the Rookie of the Year conversation with Castle, but I think Castle's got it locked up.
He might be on one of those All-NBA teams. Trae Young. I think Trae Young is pretty quickly become a very underrated player, even though I'm not I can't say that I'd want him to play for my team, but because I think his style of play is a little bit hard to win with. But 23 and 15 for Trae Young, which is crazy.
Yeah,
off of 16 shots too, which is pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that takes us to the win of the week.
Yes, sir.
I know you always talk about one win each week.
Gotta have one.
And we had one this week at home for the home fans.
Yeah.
Debatable whether we should have won this game or not, because it tied us with the Wizards.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a good call to try to win this game?
Probably not great, but I mean, it probably did. Honestly, I guess either way, we're just tied for top. I mean, we're not going to fall out of the top 3 odds, which is all 14%, so it probably doesn't matter too much unless some kind of catastrophe happens and we all fall out of it. But
right. Yeah, but I mean, this was an exciting game. I actually ended up going to this game.
Oh, let's go.
At the Delta Center, trying to sneak in one last.
Was this the last home game?
One last game.
Or was it the second?
Thunder game was the last one. That was last night.
That's hype, though. Second
to last. Actually, what was cool at this game, at halftime, they gave a little tribute to Dan Roberts.
Oh, that's sick.
He's the longest tenured arena PA announcer in the NBA.
That's crazy.
47 years, I think.
Wow.
So absolute legend.
Yeah.
I think they're putting his number in the rafters of how many games he's called or something like that.
Yeah, he deserved. Put him right next to Hot Rod Hundley up there.
Oh yeah.
That's incredible.
Dan Roberts, I don't know what it's going to be like next year without him. It's just going to feel weird. I feel bad for whoever the next PA announcer is, because it's just not going to be the same.
Honestly, the Jazz just have such legendary we have a lot of tradition. I feel like with the Jazz, like even when you think about it, like Craig Bolerjack has been doing this for a really long time.
Yeah, he might get his name up there eventually.
I could see it. I mean, Thurl's been on there a while. I mean, you even got guys like Ron Boone and David Locke who have been on and off the broadcast for I remember 15 years ago listening to those guys on the radio. Like, it's insane. And how much longer will they do it? Like, it's just cool that we have all these people that we just love as a community. It's pretty cool.
No, I think you gotta see those guys, and it's just gotta inspire you.
Yeah,
awesome. Whatever you're doing, just be consistent at it.
That's right.
And I think consistency is impressive, especially with 47 seasons as a PA announcer. That's I don't know. Maybe he had a couple of days where he had a sore throat and he couldn't go into work, but 47 years is crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, we ended up having a really exciting game against the Blazers.
Yes, we did.
That being said, we had some unlikely guys that did well. Our boy Kyle Filipowski's new career high. I feel like we've said that 3 times.
Yeah.
He scored 30 points and 18 rebounds.
Yep.
Absolute
5 assists too,
beast
on top
of a
of
game.
That.
And he had the game tying bucket to go into overtime. He dunked it.
That was a nice move to fake the dribble handoff and just took off to the rim, aggressive dunk.
Yeah.
It was nice.
I think they were definitely expecting the handoff, so that was a good play by him. I don't know if Will Hardy drew that up or not.
Yeah.
But that also, earlier, Johnny Juzang airballed the shot to win.
Yeah.
When we could have taken the lead. So thank goodness we had another try at it.
Yeah.
And also shout out to the Blazers for missing 2 free throws in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I actually had my chicken yesterday, so
let's go.
Thank you.
Let's go.
So, and then I guess any other guys stick out to you from this game?
Yeah, I mean, Keontae, 18, 6, and 6. Just, I still think he's playing really well.
He had a couple step back threes down the stretch.
Yeah, he's not bad. Honestly, I know we just talked about how poor of a season it was, but I also just feel like if you're actually watching the Jazz, there is some things to be excited about. Like these guys, Kyle Filipowski recently has just been playing really well in the last month or two.
Yeah.
Keontae's just consistently been a good player for us this year. You know, Collier.
Bryce Sensabaugh has been really good. 40% from 3 from Bryce Sensabaugh.
Johnny Juzang's had some random good games. There's just a lot. I mean, maybe Johnny Juzang's not part of the future. Who knows? But there's a lot to be excited about. I still think Keontae. I think we're going to have some questions about where he fits on the roster with Isaiah Collier playing so well. Is Keontae too good to be a backup? Is the kind of the question in my opinion. But yeah, he's just been playing really well this year, I feel like.
Yeah. And I think he's also not been a guy to sit out games.
Yeah.
He's scored 1,000 points this season, which is a pretty big milestone.
Good for him, yeah.
And if you look at Keontae from last year to this year, he went from averaging 13 points a game to 16.8.
Wow.
And then as of totals, he's 974 to now 1,100 points.
Wow.
So he did make a big jump in scoring. Efficiency, definitely still something he's got to work on. He's 39% from the field, 33% from 3.
Yeah.
That hasn't really gone up this year. So that being said, he's got to work on efficiency a little bit, but he's definitely brought up the scoring this season for sure.
And we could also, I mean, it is a sophomore slump. That's a real thing in the NBA. We saw it with Walker Kessler last year.
His was so bad.
But Walker Kessler this year's looked nice. So maybe, hopefully we'll see the same from Keontae in year 3. Just he's got it figured out now. He can maybe hopefully work on some things in the offseason and be more efficient next year. Hopefully. Yeah.
And I also want to point out my guy, Oscar Shibwe. He got a lot of burn. He got 19 minutes in this game.
An absolute beast.
And he was an absolute beast. 17 and 10. That might be his career high in the NBA. This guy, low-key should be on the team.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Oscar Shibwe is kind of a fan favorite for me.
Yeah.
But just being able to see him play, I'm liking that.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like, I just looked it up because I know they were campaigning for him to win the MVP. Looks like he didn't win this year. J.D. Davidson apparently did. So I guess it's kind of rigged, but whatever. But yeah, just a incredible season for him. Yeah, he had some legendary games in the in the season. I'm trying to see if he had any votes. It's not telling me. Maybe they don't publish the votes, but kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, then we got our one last game.
Yep.
Against the Thunder. It was last night. And, man, we got killed by the Thunder reserves. Yeah. But to be fair, it was our reserves too. Yeah. So it was just Jazz bench versus Thunder bench.
My question for this game, who gave Svai Mikhailuk permission to take 20 shots? That's insane.
I mean, he made a lot of them.
That's right. 27 points is
good.
Pretty awesome. Good for him. He deserved to have a game this year.
Yeah, shout out to Svi. He honestly, when you watch him play, he doesn't care how many shots he takes. No. If he's open, he's going to shoot it every single time without
That's the type of players you want care. Too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was his career high. So we had 3 career highs this week.
Dang, let's go. That's hype. Yeah, Sensabaugh, a really good game, 25, 6 and 5 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another good game for Flip, 15 and 13.
Yeah, but I guess on the other side, our boy Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe, they both had 30 plus points. Crazy night for them. And then I don't know if you recognized Dylan Jones from Weber State.
Yeah.
He's in their starting lineup this game with 32 minutes.
Yeah, he didn't play bad either. 2 steals, 8 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds overall.
Yeah. He seems like a guy that kind of just does a little bit of everything on the court. Yeah.
You forget how deep the Thunder are. Even Brendan Carlson played too. He's a Utah guy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Played at Utah last year. They're just so deep. It's kind of insane. A lot of these guys like Dylan Jones would probably be a rotation guy on any other team, I think. I remember he'd work his way into the rotation, but this team is just so deep.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, they're going to be scary in the playoffs. There's a reason they're the 1 seed.
Yeah, they are.
For sure. But that leads us to the player of the week.
Ooh, I'll be honest.
I was looking through the games. Some guys had like one really good game, one awful game, one medium game. But one guy that's kind of just been consistently good this week has been Bryce Sensabaugh.
Ooh,
I don't know if you're expecting that.
Is that his first one this year? There was a point where he played well, I guess. I'm trying to remember.
Let's see. I think he has one other one.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. Yep, this is his second player of the week of the season. Just barely snuck in there.
We love Bryce Sensabaugh.
The last week. But yeah, Bryce Sensabaugh had a really good week. He had 2 20-point games, a 25-point game against the Thunder, a 22-point game against the Blazers. And one thing that I've been loving about Bryce Sensabaugh is his efficiency. He's on the season shot 40% from 3 the whole year.
Dang.
Our best 3-point shooter's been him. And if you look at his numbers from last year, he's made a huge jump.
Dang.
In what he's able to do. He went from scoring 241 points last year to 750 points this year.
Dang.
So he tripled his point total.
Good for him.
So honestly, I think end of the season, Bryce Sensabaugh's player of the week, it just kind of encapsulates just how much improvement that we've seen from him this year.
Yeah, good for him.
So shout out to him, our Jazz player of the week.
Yeah, I love that pick. Hopefully, I hope he sticks around long enough to be a rotation piece when we start actually competing. Because I really like Bryce Sensabaugh's game. I think he could be. We even saw it last year in the G League, just how talented of a scorer he can be, and yeah, there's a lot of room still. I think good pick. We have just one game left.
No, crazy.
Yeah, we play the Minnesota Timberwolves on tomorrow, I believe, as Sunday, April 13th this season. From what I hear, Anthony Edwards is going to be out. He got his 18th technical, which puts him 1 game suspension. So what do you feel? What do you think is going to happen this game?
I'm going to swing for the fences a little bit. I haven't gone this high. I'm going to say the Jazz lose by 25.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
The Timberwolves are right there in the standings with 3 other teams. And so I think they have a lot of reason to win. Jazz don't care. I'm going to say a 25-point loss, swing for the fence.
Oh, crap. I feel a little nervous about my pick now. I'm also swinging for the fences kind of in a different way. I think for the Jazz, our seeding, quote-unquote, in the tankathon is pretty much done. In my opinion, I don't think the Jazz should care too much about being 1 or 2. which we're locked into at this point. I think Jazz go for the win. Why not? Put all the boys on the floor. Show all the cards. I say Jazz win by 15. Big win.
Dang. Okay,
big win.
You're just kind of taunting me right now with
Why not?
Swinging for
I'm
the
gonna
fence
be
the other
rooting for
way.
a big one. We need one. So it could be
Love
fun.
to see it. And that takes us, I guess you already talked about the Tankathon.
Yes.
We cannot drop to 3, so that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know who the Wizards play in their last game, but just pulling it up. They actually play tomorrow as well against the Miami Heat.
Oh, man.
So, I don't know. The Wizards could win that, but they're probably not going to win. So, I'm guessing we'll be either tied for 1 or we'll be 2.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy looking at Tankathon. Last 10 games for like the top 5 teams are just Wizards 2-8 in the last 10, Jazz and Charlotte 1-9, New Orleans 2-8, Philly 1-9. Just some really poor basketball being played in some of these places.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and our Minnesota pick's now up to 21.
Yeah.
Not great, but it's all good.
Well, if there's anything that Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck proved, that they can turn late first round picks into pretty good players this year.
It's
so
true.
hopefully that'll turn into something nice.
And then we talked about the Jazz giving up 147 points this week. I don't know. You said you saw it somewhere, but the Jazz have the worst defensive rating this year in the NBA.
Yeah.
Not by a ton, but they are 30th.
Yeah. Pretty bad. I think historically, we couldn't really tell. Somebody said it was the worst ever, but I think we found some that were lower. Either way, we're pretty close to being one of the worst defensive teams ever, which is pretty sad.
But I also think that's inflated because people score more points in this NBA.
Yeah.
And so you could argue there's been worse defenses that have given up less points.
That's true.
Just because people score less in past years.
We are a fast-paced team, too.
Yeah, point for point, we've given up probably the most ever.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah. So pretty sad. I guess it shouldn't really surprise us, though, with the week we had. We had 340-point games from our opponents. So.
I know. I think definitely this draft, we want to focus on, and just off-season in general, focus on defense. I think part of the tank is giving up points, and we did that really well. But now this next year, if we're not tanking, we need to figure out some defense because we don't have it.
I'm honestly glad that we did one season. We tanked right for one season. This is the right season to do it, I think.
Sure.
I mean, I would have loved to have had Wemby, but that's another conversation, I guess. But after this season, I honestly think we just need to start building. I don't think we can keep tanking like this.
For the fans and for the interest of the Jazz.
I don't really want AJ that much to keep doing this, to be honest. I mean, maybe depends on how good he is, I guess, but. Yeah, we'll just get our guy and let's start building. I feel like we have good, I feel like if you got Walker Kessler in playing consistently, not like this whole thing where we sit him every 4 games because we're tanking, I think our defense could be pretty good. We saw it with Rudy Gobert. When you got a guy in the paint who protects the rim, it makes everything else easier on defense. So,
and if we get Hendricks back,
yeah, absolutely,
insert him in the starting lineup, maybe. I think he's a point of attack defender that we need at least one of those.
Having a 7-foot wing in Lauri Markkanen is never a bad
I've
thing.
also been impressed with Collier's defense.
Absolutely.
Through the first year, so we could see something
Sexton
good from him.
Brings a lot of energy. Yeah. So I just really don't feel like we're as bad of a team as our record shows this year. It's just, we have to be done with the tank after this year. So
I feel you. And then I guess talking about Hendricks, he's been looking like he's walking around. He's looking like he's kind of getting back to health.
Yeah, I saw a little press conference. They said, or he was saying that the doctor said he would be good to play basketball by May, which is exciting. Not that it's
really soon.
Yeah, not that it really affects our season because we won't be playing in May, but that is good. That means
affects his mental. He's been waiting to play basketball for months.
That's right. And he'll have the whole off season to work out and get his, it won't be like a right before the season thing.
Yeah.
So, good for him. We're happy. He still has a place on this team. We still have yet to see what Taylor Hendricks could do. We were excited. We
only got 3 games of him this year, and he looked pretty good.
Yeah. Beginning of the season, we were predicting that he was going to be one of our better players. So yeah, kind of fun. But I guess that perfectly takes us to our superlatives. If you don't
give
remember,
some background on this, right?
Yeah.
I think episode 45.
Yeah.
We gave, I think, 5 to 7 categories. So, yeah. Just giving like our own tuned in kind of awards for the year and predictions. These, I don't know about you. And then we also gave some bold predictions as well when the season started. But I don't know about you, but some of these did not age well for me. But I think it's a good conversation, kind of seeing what were our expectations and what did we get.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually did this last season too. I think it's kind of become a little tradition. One of our first episodes we ever did was superlatives for our first season last year, and did it again this year. I feel pretty okay about these, although ideal lineup at the end of the season's a little tough because it's like, what does that even mean now?
What does that even mean?
We started a weird group last night, so it's kind of interesting. But
starting lineup at the end of the season's the bench, I guess. But let's start with our top 3 scorers. Who did you have at the beginning of the season?
Well, when I was predicting these, I remember we were kind of thinking points per game, but it's probably a little different. But my prediction was it was going to be Markkanen, Keontae, and Colin Sexton. So
that's what I had too.
Not too horrible. I think the actual ended up being we had a tie. It was Markkanen and John Collins. So John Collins had a bounce back season we weren't really expecting. And then Colin Sexton second with 18 and a half a game.
Yeah, and then I think since Laurie and Collins only played like 40-ish games, Keontae does get into the top if you're talking total points, but I think that's honestly not that much of a surprise. No. I think if anything, John Collins is the surprise out of those guys, absolutely. Just because we didn't expect him to be our leading scorer on a bunch of nights.
Absolutely. Our second category, top rebounder. Who did your pick?
Dude, I was not expecting Kessler to pop off. I said Markkanen because he did it last year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's
probably not a horrible pick, though.
But I'm very happy about being wrong with this one.
Yeah. I put... on some of these, I put parentheses, but I put Kessler, and I said maybe Collins. So I feel pretty good about that prediction.
Yep.
Because Collins obviously popped off a little, too. But I think Kessler was our top guy at 12.2 rebounds per game, which is a great season. Even if he played half the games, it's crazy.
And I guess in terms of total rebounds, he also led by 120 rebounds before the next guy.
Let's go.
Filipowski had 100 less.
Wow, that's actually crazy.
So he's totally the highest rebounder.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
And then the next one that we have, top assister.
Yeah.
Didn't see this coming at all. I had George and Sexton.
Oh, okay.
Last year. That would have made sense.
Yeah.
But our boy Isaiah Collier, of course.
That's right.
I think he had 6.3 a game, which is really good.
Yeah, I said Keontae, and then I did another parenthesis, said Collier could surprise us.
Okay.
He did surprise us. That's indeed.
He totally did.
Indeed true. That was kind of wishful thinking back then. I actually had no reason to
I was actually like kind of surprised that you said that. So shout out to Collier.
Yeah.
Big surprise.
Right. Maybe he heard the pod and he was like, bet, watch this,
Yeah.
Oh, pretty good.
And then these other ones are kind of subjective.
Yeah.
But we'll see how accurate you feel like they are. I said best defender. I put Walker Kessler, which I think ages pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. I think as of right now, he's still one of the leaders in blocks in the NBA, if I remember right. Let me check that. Yeah, he's actually number 1. I think he probably doesn't qualify for the thing because he's only 58 games, but
I think he also led the league in offensive rebounds too.
Yeah.
4.6, so that's pretty insane.
Yeah, 2.4 blocks a game. So I don't hate that pick. I don't know why I put so many parentheses, but I also put Taylor Hendricks. That was I still don't feel like that was a horrible pick, just a really unfortunate situation.
He could have been.
Yeah, I think he could have been. So we'll see it next year, I guess. Biggest improvement. This is probably my worst one. I said Bryce Sensabaugh. I guess it's not horrible.
That's not bad. He did improve quite a bit.
Yeah, but not as much. In my mind, I was thinking, this guy's going to turn into a starter. But that definitely didn't happen. But he did established himself a little more this year. So
yeah, I put Keontae George.
Okay.
Which he did up his points per game total, but like same thing. He's still kind of inefficient. He still has a lot of ways to improve.
Yeah.
I would say he's definitely improved, but I don't know if he's the most improved guy. I'd say that'd probably be Walker Kessler if we're really giving it to one guy.
Yeah. I think you could make a case for John Collins, although he was already playing at that level before, so I don't know if it's... He did play better than the
A lot better than last year.
Yeah. Probably one of those two guys, I would say. All-star, obviously.
Nobody got all-star. We can skip that one if you want.
We both just guessed Markkanen, I think, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, not really. Best rookie?
Dude, I put Cody Williams.
Ooh, okay.
That was not the guy.
I don't remember this, but apparently I was a big Isaiah Collier believer because I said Collier and I said Williams with time, which I'll just forget about that. I shouldn't even have read that part, but...
oh, man, that's Cody, no.
But I think... Ooh, I don't know. Do you think Collier or Filipowski was better this year? I feel like there was...
I'd say Collier, just because of the assist. It's just been such a good thing on the team.
That's true. Breaking the John Stockton record's pretty cool.
And I think Filipowski's also been good. But
I don't think he's far behind. He's had some pretty good games this year.
It's true.
Just consistency thing, honestly. I'm just curious, what was your ideal lineup going into the end of the season, even though it doesn't matter?
I put George and Sexton, Cody Williams, Markkanen and Kessler.
Okay, we had the same one. I didn't remember that. Yeah,
that's not great. I guess, what do you think would be the best lineup we have right now?
With guys we have? Well, I think it's Collier now. Probably still Sexton.
Markkanen and Kessler in there.
John Collins figured out how to play with
probably
Kessler
Collins,
too. Yeah,
because I guess Markkanen, Collins, and Kessler can all play together now.
Yeah, that's probably what it is, honestly.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then I'm a little embarrassed. Some of my bold predictions, but I mean, I just think it illustrates how crazy this season has been and how kind of bad it's been.
Horrible.
When we were going in this season, we didn't really know what to expect.
No.
We're kind of optimistic. I put the Jazz will have an above average defense.
Ooh. Jeez.
I don't know if you remember that.
I think we got to add some points to your prediction tracker. I'm just kidding.
Oh, man. Probably. Yeah, the Jazz had the worst defense. So I don't know what it was, but I was thinking part of that was going to be that Hendricks was coming in again.
I guess it's not horrible.
Kessler, I thought would take a jump. He ended up doing that, and we would have like a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
But no, that just was not the case. We had the worst in the NBA.
Oh, man. That's fun. My first bold prediction was that the Jazz a Jazz rookie will find himself on the all-rookie first team. I think I probably missed that one, but we're probably close.
I don't know about first team, maybe second team.
Yeah. Even then, I mean, they didn't even put him on the Rising Stars game, so
we'll see.
But I don't feel horrible about their prediction. We had some good rookies this year.
Yeah. I like that one. That one still ages pretty well.
Yeah.
My other one, this one's cut and dry. I said the Jazz will not make a trade at the trade deadline.
Ooh. Oh, I remember because my second one was Jazz make a big trade at the deadline. I said Dame ?
Oh, shoot.
Anyway, I forgot we did that.
I don't think either of our predictions were right because we didn't make a big trade and we did make some trades.
Yeah, that's true.
So we just ended up making like tiny trades to get like first round.
And it wasn't Dame, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy to see the Jazz were involved in the Jimmy Butler and
that's true.
Luka Doncic
We did make some big trades, I guess.
So we made big trades, but we didn't get the big player. Yeah.
What was your third prediction?
Final one. I had Keontae George will be top 10 in assists in the NBA.
Oh, okay.
That didn't happen, but I wonder, maybe while you share yours, I'll look up and see if Collier even got close to top 10.
Yeah. Yeah, my final one is still one I feel pretty decent about. Maybe a little less confident than I did feel. But my third bold prediction was that Will Hardy gets frustrated and moves on at the end of the season.
Ooh.
I still think that might be a valid take because I just can't imagine a young coach. I think Will Hardy's a good coach. But I can't imagine a young coach wants to keep like if he has a resume for a next job, I can't imagine he wants to have 6 tanking seasons on his resume. You know what I mean? So, I feel like, especially, I kind of was thinking the Jazz were going to do the same thing this year that they did the last 2 years, where they're just like middle of the road bad team. We actually did tank this year, so maybe Will Hardy will feel a little better about the future, but I don't know. I can't imagine he stays around much longer if we keep playing like this.
And I did look it up. Isaiah Collier was 21st in assists per game and 15th in total assists.
Let's go.
So Keontae didn't get top 10 assists in the NBA, but Collier almost did.
Let's go.
So
that's hype.
Yeah.
Keontae might have if he had been the starter this whole year. You know,
I think so. Know. So I feel like I'm not hating that prediction, even though it was the wrong player.
Yeah, it's not horrible. Well, the playoffs are upon us.
Almost.
I think there might be a little bit of shifting in the West here, but at this point, we're pretty much set in our playoff. I think all of the playoff teams are set. Is that right? It's just seeding.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so it's just seeding. So there's no fighting for playoffs at this point.
Is there like a team in the East or West that you think you want to play in the first round?
I mean, honestly, in the West, I know the Rockets are playing really well, but they're pretty young.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Like, are they a real 2 seed? But they I don't know. I've been watching some of their highlights. They dominate the glass because they have a lineup with Steven Adams and Sengun.
Yeah.
And they just like play hard defense. They're kind of a unique team with the way they play.
Well, I think the matchup might be tough because as of right now, if nothing changes, the 7-8 game, which will be their first matchup, will be Minnesota and Memphis. And I think both of those teams are pretty good rebounding teams.
Yeah.
Who have like athletic guards who match up
bigger
pretty
stars.
Well. Yeah. I think that would be the matchup I would be most... If I was the Rockets, I'd be a little concerned about either of those teams matching up with me. But also, the Nuggets seem to be kind of a mess. Honestly, I do.
Yeah, I don't understand why they fired their coach. Yeah. That was like the weirdest thing
now
ever.
Apparently it's coming out that like Mike Malone was playing Westbrook and the GM didn't want him to play Westbrook, and then there's some things about a toxic locker room, and you never know what's true in today's NBA, but it's still an odd time to make the change 4 games before the playoffs. But
yeah, if anything, I would watch out for that Clippers team to knock out the Nuggets because the Clippers have been playing really good basketball.
Yeah, and Harden in the playoffs is a different animal.
Zubac has been like a defensive player of the year candidate.
Absolutely. Dude, that I will say though, that Lakers-Warriors game, if that happens, if that ends up staying the way it is, that's going to be fireworks because the Warriors are super hot right now. I think the Lakers are playing their best basketball.
I think those are both two teams you don't want to play in the first round.
Absolutely. I think OKC should be happy that they're on the opposite side of the thing from them because that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
What about the East? Is there any teams?
As much
games?
as I hate to say it, I would want to play the Bucks.
Okay.
Because Dame's injured.
Yeah.
They've kind of been cursed in the first round, I feel like, the last couple of years. So, and anyways, they're going to probably, I think they are definitely going to play the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
Which has kind of become a rivalry, Pacers and Bucks. Just the Bucks have not looked as good towards the end of the season. They've got some bad losses here and there. Dame's hurt. They're probably a little weak. Yeah,
especially we saw the other day what Pacers can do offensively. Holy cow. Mm-hmm. They might just torch the Bucks because Giannis can't do that all by himself.
It's true.
I don't know what Kyle Kuzma's doing. I really been locked in with the Bucks, but I also think that Knicks-Pistons game is going to be really good. I don't know what's going to happen.
Low-key, the Pistons, you don't want to play the Pistons.
No.
They're way better this year.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham's amazing.
Yeah. They're a tough team, too. Like, I feel like just some of their guys, like the Isaiah Stewarts, Jalen Durans, those guys are, like, dogs. Like, they're classic Pistons players, in my opinion. Like,
yeah. You got our boy Fontecchio. He's going to die for loose balls.
Absolutely. You got like it's crazy. The Pistons always just have this culture, like they're the bad boy Pistons, or even when you had Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace, like those guys were dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And now you kind of building a mini version of that right now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Of any of the first round, that one might be one of the most exciting, along with Laker Warriors. And I think we already talked about kind of our playoff predictions. It seems like, if I remember right, we're both kind of thinking the Thunder are going to win it this year.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm a little bit higher on the Cavs than you, maybe.
Yeah,
I think the Cavs could take the East this year. They just look so good.
Yeah. I think it wouldn't surprise me to see the Cavs take the East, but at this point, I feel like I believed in Donovan Mitchell enough times to know, like, he's gonna have to prove it to me. I mean, not that he cares what
true.
I think, but like at this
just
point,
based off what's happened in the past. I agree.
I feel the same way about like Joel Embiid, like the guys like that. I won't believe in them in the playoffs until they give me a reason to, because it hasn't gone well in the past. So I think this is set up to be one of the more exciting playoffs, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think a lot of these teams. I'd love to hear your opinion on this, because looking at these 9-10 games, they don't really excite me all that much. What do you think of? We're 3 years into the play-in games. What do you think of this format? Do you think we go back to 1 through 8, or do you like it?
I've known the answer to this for a year. I feel like I think you do the play-in game if the lower team is within 5 games back, or something similar to that. Like, for instance, if you look in the West, the Kings are 8 games behind the Grizzlies. Jeez. In that case, I'd say let's just forget about the 9-10.
Yeah, honestly.
And then in the West, or in the East rather, it's still pretty close. Like, the Bulls are 1 game behind the 8th seed.
Yeah.
And the Heat are 2 games behind the 8th seed. I'd say let's do it in the East, because they're only like 1 or 2 games behind. But I think it's just like, I remember when the Jazz used to be around that 8th seed.
Yeah.
And I think like if you're 1 game out of the playoffs, that just sucks so much, being that 9. And so I like the play-in the sense that if you're like 1 or 2 games out, like you can play head to head and like see who really deserves to be there.
Yeah.
But then again, if you're like in the West this year at the Kings and Mavericks, they don't deserve to be there. They had much worse seasons. I think that we could scrap it on the West, but I don't know what you think.
Horrible matchup. Yeah, I agree. I also remember when the Jazz were the number 1 seed. What was that, 5 years ago?
2021.
I just remember feeling like, man, like I really wish we knew who we were playing. Like, I know that it's like you're still playing a 9 or 10 seed probably, but like it still would be nice to know. Like, you're kind of at a disadvantage by not being able to prepare like everybody else can. Maybe just a slight disadvantage, but I'm honestly not a huge fan. I think 1 through 8 makes it kind of fun, especially if you get Memphis OKC this year. I still think that'd be fireworks. So, but I don't know.
Which is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I could see it. But anyways, that takes us to another championship that we just saw, March Madness. Mm-hmm. How did your bracket end up? I can't remember.
Man, I think we both picked Duke.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it didn't go well in that sense. But man, I think that game was pretty electric.
Yeah.
It's cool to see our boys at Houston, Big 12 boys, take them down to the last minutes. But man, I feel like the Houston pulled off the upset against Duke in the final minutes, came back. They kind of had the same thing happen to them. Mm-hmm. I think in March Madness, you can never take your foot off the gas.
Absolutely.
You never know when, even if you're up by 5 to 10 plus points in a game, you can never become complacent, because you never know when a team like Florida, a team like Houston is going to come back and beat you. So I think that's just what this tournament's shown us, is that never count one of these teams out.
That's right. I will say too, we didn't talk about Walter Clayton Jr. in our preview. We did talk about a lot of players, but Walter Clayton Jr., he's a dog. I think he's going to find himself on an NBA team next year.
Yeah.
That guy,
I've seen him in mock drafts at like middle second round, and I've seen him in the lottery.
Yeah.
So I have no idea where he's going to go, but I
Yeah.
think he's going to get drafted somewhere.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get lucky because we did see both Filipowski and Collier in the lottery at some point last year. Lottery, like mock drafts, and then they fell to us at our second pick. So maybe if he's available at 21, I'd be down.
Yeah, we'll see about that. He's been looking really good.
Yeah.
And honestly, our boys at Houston, I think they might have some seniors.
Yeah.
Going into next year. So maybe that'll be good for BYU, trying to win the Big 12 for the first time next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And BYU got a new transfer.
Yeah.
Our boy, Rob Wright.
That's
I don't remember watching him too much last year. Maybe I should have been paying attention to Baylor.
Yeah. Yeah, he's exciting. I think he kind of had a adjustment rookie season, but he was a 5-star from Montverde Academy, which is a historic high school at this point. I think he was teammates with Cooper Flagg, if I remember right. Could be remembering that wrong. I think that's right, though. But he's also been teammates with AJ DeBonsa on Team USA. They played at like some Slam Summer Jam event together. So that'll be kind of fun.
There's definitely some chemistry already built.
$3.5 million apparently. That's the report to come to BYU. So
yeah, I remember. I'm looking at his stats. I don't know if you remember the first round Baylor played Mississippi State.
Oh yeah,
Rob Wright had 19 points in the tournament game.
That's killer.
So he's definitely a guy that can put up buckets.
Yeah, I remember when he came to the Marriott Center this year too. He was their guy. He was hitting a ton of shots. So
yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, so I think, what is that, our lineup? Kaba's coming back, so he'll probably, him or the new
I think it'll be Kaba, and then
Kaba's center.
We
AJ
haven't heard anything about
4.
Richie, but I think he's coming back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then AJ
most likely.
and Rob. And we're not done recruiting either. I heard a guy from Texas Tech, Jaron Williams. I don't know if you remember him. Apparently he's interested in BYU. We're the front runner right now.
Interesting.
So that might round
It
up.
wasn't Dave, the number 5 Williams.
Wrong what his name is. Let me think. Oh, Dayron. I'm sorry. You're right. But yeah, he's in the portal. Apparently, he might be.
He was one of their best players, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to see him. He was a beast.
So that would be a good poll, especially I think that would round out our lineup because he's kind of a bigger forward. That would be our fourth guy, kind of fill the Mawit Mag role.
Yeah.
But BYU basketball, they're looking like they're the future of college basketball right now. I mean, we're throwing NIL money around like it's candy. So,
yeah, I mean, if you've got it, you may as well.
I keep seeing, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but I keep seeing a bunch of people talk about like how ethical it is for Ryan Smith to be so involved with BYU. I guess some NBA fans are upset that it's like he's creating a farming system, they're saying. But I don't think we're going to be in contention for AJ next year, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's no rule against supporting your alma mater.
No, yeah.
So I think it's fine.
We also have a younger owner who's like very vocal, and I don't think it's probably that out of the ordinary for billionaires to support their alma maters either. So
yeah.
Ryan Smith's just the loudest about it probably. So
yeah, I know like some former players like James Harden and Steph Curry, they're supporting their alma maters to get recruits.
Absolutely.
So like Davidson, I don't remember where Harden went, but
have you seen that thing? That reminds me, I think Steph Curry was just named like an assistant general manager of Dayton basketball. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
And then Trae Young was the same thing with Oklahoma. That's kind of an interesting like movement we're seeing in basketball. I wonder if that's going to happen more of players like just, I'm sure they're not like super involved during the season, but maybe just like showing up in the off season.
They'll tap into the money is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Maybe.
And that's cool if like you can tell recruits like, hey, Steph Curry's going to be around in the summer to like help us with training camp. You know, you could come and learn from him. That's kind of cool.
Do like a Under Armour commercial with Steph.
Yeah, that's right.
That'd be cool.
That'd be sick. Oh, BYU needs to bring Jimmer in, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then I guess we could just talk real quick about the hockey team.
Yeah, if we have to.
There's only 3 games left in the season for them, so it's kind of wrapping up around the same time.
Yeah.
Their season should end in a couple days. I think they got eliminated from the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Was that this week?
Yeah, we're out. I think so. 36, 30, and 13. We're still 2 spots out. I guess that's probably where we'll end this season. But a good first season.
Can't really complain about very that. Good first season. I know we've talked about it many times.
Yeah.
Exceeded expectations.
Absolutely.
This team did really well. And even though they didn't make the playoffs, we're still proud of what they were able to accomplish.
Yeah.
I saw they scored 7 goals in one of their games this week against the Kraken.
That's pretty cool.
That might be our top goal game of the year. So good way to end it, right?
Speaking of, we talked a little last week, but Alex Ovechkin, did you see he broke Gretzky's record? Mm-hmm. Which is pretty cool. I mean, I wish I was as locked into hockey to know how historic it is, but I know Gretzky's like the GOAT. So
yeah, I think his assist record is way higher than Ovechkin. He's never. I don't think anyone's ever going to break his assist record.
A bunch of people were saying too, it was like Ovechkin took way more shots to get there too, which is But I mean, there's no need to. It's like the same with LeBron and Jordan. It's like
just praise everybody. Yeah. It's just good to see
40,000 points for LeBron is 40,000 points. You don't have to. There's no reason to be like, he's 40, you know.
Yeah, I saw actually LeBron is going to pass Kareem for most games played.
It's crazy.
But he still needs to pass Robert Parrish. I don't know if you knew that, but Robert Parrish has played the most games of all time. Dang. But if LeBron plays next year, he'll also pass Robert Parrish for the number 1 spot.
That's so insane.
Just games played, so that's pretty insane too.
It's so crazy what we're seeing LeBron do. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Utah Hockey Club 2, I think it was yesterday, or maybe it might be today actually, as the day we're recording this. They were doing a 50% off like sidewalk sale, kind of like we saw last year with the Jazz jerseys.
Trying to offload all the all the first year stuff before we get the new logo.
We're gonna get some new stuff soon, I hope. They're just trying to get rid of it before. But I think you were telling me all the colors are going to stay the same, or at least it looks like it with the logos. So
with the light blue.
So it honestly is not a bad deal to just go get a Utah jersey because they're pretty generic, kind of historic first season too. So
yeah, definitely.
Pretty cool.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Tuned In Jazz podcast. It's been a long season, but we're so ready to hear what we get in the lottery. I'm glad to see the improvement from our players. Make sure to check out our past episodes. We've kind of broken down some of the players and the improvements we've seen in them in the past months. And we've talked about some guys in the upcoming NBA draft that you should watch out for. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast, and we'll catch you next time.